Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton Daily Live. It is press conference reaction. David Moyes gave his press conference earlier today ahead of Everton's trip to Arsenal, joined by John Blaine in the studio.
Hello.
John, what are you, before we get into what sort of David Moyes was saying, what are your thoughts ahead of this trip to Arsenal?
I listened to your match preview that you did with James, and I would agree with a fair amount of that, really. It's quite interesting when you talked on things like they score most goals from set pieces, we concede least.
Yeah.
They've got a very, very good home form. We've got a very, very good away form. So all the classic, those data-y type people who are interested in data will say, this is going to be a close game. And I think it could be. Clearly, it depends how we perform. I suppose the honest answer is when I got to the end of your match preview, which I really enjoyed, I then went, but David will be telling everybody about all their strengths and dropping anchor on the edge of the penalty box and so on. But will he? And I think the points James was making on that, I think was spot on, which is, I will distill it down to, I think we need to remind them during the game that the game in a way is more important for them than it is for us. So I'm not saying we have a free hit, because we've got exceptional away form. Was it 4 wins and a draw in the last 5 away games? But the pressure should be on them. They're the ones who may or may not be suffering from a little bit of fatigue. We've had a rest while they've been playing. And I'm going to say it wouldn't surprise me at all if we got something out of that game. And you know what? Maybe I'm just being far too optimistic, which is my want. I don't think I'd fall off my seat if we won.
No.
So that's a great place for us to be in, which is everyone thinks we're going to lose. It's another opportunity for us to measure ourselves against currently the best team in the division, who have not quite impeccable, but an exceptionally good home record. And I can't wait to see when irresistible force meets a movable object with set pieces. And I just hope that our set pieces, from an attacking perspective, say, well, you can give it out, lads. Can you take it? Yeah. So, and I'll get withdrawal symptoms tomorrow when I get up and I'm not on the way there.
A very rare thing, John.
It's the 1 or 2 games a year, never mind a season, that I miss, and moving the date didn't help me at all.
No.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I will be doing it the way most people do it these days, which is in a bar somewhere, or pub rather, probably with my nephew or something, screaming at a telly.
All good. It's all good.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really chilled about the game itself, you know.
The press is all on them.
Totally.
They've got something to lose, haven't they? Of course, we're going for something which is fantastic. We've actually got something to aim for that's positive rather than looking over our shoulders. But City are breathing on their necks with no pressure because Arsenal have been ahead all season.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we lost it again, rightly or wrongly, I don't know whether Mikel survives. He would have to win. Don't get me wrong, they're brilliant. They're in all 4 competitions, as City are. City mightn't be for much longer, but right now they are. And so he's doing a great job. But ultimately, it distills down to winning stuff when you've spent the amount of money they have. Therefore, he's got to get over the line, and this will be the one they, 22 years, I think, since they last won the Premier League, which is incredible when you think what they were. So all the pressure's on them, and for Everton, we've just got to do what we've done in every away game. It's just hang in there, and when we get the chance, break, and if we get the opportunity, take it. Like you said, it could be a set piece, it could be... they're on a great run. They've lost 1 in 15.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
And that was Man United beat them at the Emirates.
Yeah.
But runs come to an end, don't they? And
well, we've broken their runs in the past,
and we haven't won there, at all with fans. We've never won at the Emirates with fans.
We won in COVID.
We won in COVID, but we've never won at the Emirates with fans, and we haven't beaten Arsenal. We've beaten Arsenal away once since 1996, which was that COVID one. which was a Highbury.
And as we know, that year didn't count.
No, the COVID one.
Yeah.
No, didn't count.
Shouldn't even be in the book.
Whoever, it was an asterisk. Whoever won the league that year, it didn't matter.
So we haven't beaten them since we won something.
So we've got Andre and Chelsea and Graham Stewart the last time we won it. So with you, I mean, we had a couple of close calls, and even last year when we were absolutely diabolical with Dyche, we managed to get a point there. So we got to keep it tight and see what happens.
Absolutely,
see what comes of it.
Absolutely agree. And it's just a nice place to be at the moment, in the sense of clearly we have to finish whatever happens with European competition and stuff. We need to finish the season well to roll into next season.
Absolutely,
on the up. But again, I was talking to you earlier on about debates with my missus and stuff. It's become a habit around this time of the season, for obvious reasons in seasons gone by, is to look near the bottom and guesstimate who's going to get how many points and where's it all going to end up. And we did that yesterday, and of course we were nowhere to be seen in that debate.
Beautiful.
It was Leeds downwards.
Well, it is, isn't it? It's 4 teams, isn't it?
Yeah, trying to forecast, going through game by game, what do we think?
So who did you end up with going down?
Wolves.
Yeah, they're gone. The bottom two are gone.
Wolves, but not bottom, second bottom.
Yeah, I think so.
Burnley, bottom. Spurs.
It just seems mad.
If you look at Spurs fixtures, as my missus said, I can't see them winning any points.
They've got two.
If you don't go game by game,
they've got Forest at home.
Yeah,
they've got Leeds at home.
Absolutely,
they are two. They should be looking to win.
Absolutely,
but obviously they go to Anfield on Sunday, and regardless, Liverpool aren't good this season. They're just not. They're not at their level. But Tottenham's record at Anfield's worse than ours.
Is it really?
Our record's horrific.
Well, their issue then is not just that they lose, that they get absolutely battered.
I don't know whether they will.
No, I mean, if they did get absolutely battered, because they'll change the manager.
But then you've got Atletico Madrid next week again. I can't see them, the 5-2 down, aren't they? Can't see them turning that. Them and Chelsea getting beat 5-2. Crazy, isn't it? I can't see them turning that round. So then that Forest game next Sunday,
right in the face,
and Forest are at home to Fulham this weekend. You never know what Fulham are going to turn up. Could be brilliant, or Forest could beat them, whatever. But say, for argument's sake, Forest win, then Spurs are going into that game points adrift
already
against Forest, who a draw would be an amazing result for them, and kill Spurs. Really, another home game gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
After this weekend, there's 8 games to play.
Yeah, and you're right to call it the way you just did, because in fact I should have took a photo of the bit of paper. Mrs. has got it, so you can have a laugh at it. But they're only, when I'm saying they're third bottom, they're 2 points adrift from Forest, for example, and someone else.
West Ham,
probably West Ham. Yeah.
Leeds.
So I think
the two behind Leeds, aren't they, at the moment? Leeds have got 31, so they're only 3 points off the third bottom.
That's right, yeah.
Which is mad. So you've got Leeds 31, Spurs 29, and then I think Forest and West Ham have both got 28. I think, or Forest might have 29 and 28. I mean, I could look if only there was a way to check. But I think there's 3 points, I think, between the bottom 4. If you exclude Wolves and Burnley, they're gone, no matter what. Absolutely. They're gone. Right, so we've got Wolves on 16. Burnley on 19, but I'm with you. Although Burnley do have a game in hand, but I'm with you. I think Wolves will finish above them. Then you've got West Ham 28, Forest 28, Tottenham 29, Leeds 31, and then Brighton.
How many points, just without looking at fixtures, do you think Spurs will end up with?
I think Tottenham are really difficult, right?
No, that's why I'm asking.
They've lost 5 on the bounce. They're the only team out of those 4. In fact, they're the only team in the Premier League. Forget about everything else.
They're
the only team in the Premier League that have lost the last 5. Wolves have lost 1 out the last 5. Burnley have lost 3 out the last 5.
The reason I asked was because when we got to the end, and we always, me and the missus do each game what we think, and then we end up obviously with what I think the points will be and what she thinks of it. And both of us had Spurs finishing third bottom, right? But they were within 1 win
of whoever else,
of it being somebody else, and I think it does distill down to that Forest game. And let's pretend if Spurs were to win that, it would make a massive difference.
They've got the best goal difference out the 4.
Yeah.
They've scored the most goals out the 4.
Yeah.
And they've conceded. No, the Forest have conceded the least out of that, but scored way the least.
So they need 1 or 2 good performances, and if those 1 or 2 good performances were amongst the games we thought on the edge they might lose, and then they win one, a bit like us really for European competition, we perhaps can nail it by winning a game we're not supposed to win. But the way the squad is, and the manager,
people throwing
and
their
the
hand
shock and the way the media were talking about it a couple of days ago when it was, Tudor, or however you say his surname, but
that's Tudor.
Yeah. Was going to take the press conference today because they're all expecting him to get the bullet, weren't they? And so they haven't got an agreement, have they? And then you get Dyche dragged into play and all this sort of stuff.
But hang on, hasn't Dyche only been dragged into play by Chico?
No, I don't think it started there. But
there was a big article.
No, he did
2 days ago, right? But it was based on his tweet, and I was like, someone hasn't really taken this seriously.
I think, talking to him in a WhatsApp group, he saw it somewhere else, and you know what he's like, he jumped on it. But then Miguel Delaney joined in the fray.
Wow.
And Delaney has come in way after Vincenzo Grappa.
Why would anyone think of going to Sean Dyche when Forest are where they are, though?
But what I do think perhaps is happening is Dyche will be promoting himself, won't he? Because Delaney's article...
Do you want to take that again?
Miguel Delaney's article describes Dyche as one of the few remaining survival specialists.
That's Forest fans about that.
Well,
anyway.
Well, what was funny was the first Tottenham to bite on Chico said, "And who the heck are you?" And he got a load of "this guy calls things early," and I joined the fray because it's fuel on the fire.
Course,
Forest fans didn't believe he was going there, and Chico called that first as well, didn't he? It's astonishing how you can manipulate.
Yeah. Of course.
The media sort of thing. But no, they'll want Redknapp for someone, won't they?
I'd get Sherwood and Redknapp.
That's what I mean, yeah.
I know Robbie Keane, but you'd have to... They had a good result again. They had a good result again in Europe, didn't he, this week? You'd have to get him out of Ferencváros to go there for 7. He's not going to do that. You'd have to give him the job. He's doing well, but are you going to give him the job?
3-year deal.
For 3 years.
Yeah.
Or do you just go to Sherwood, Ryan Mason, Harry Redknapp? Will you 3 come in and take the last... Tudor's clearly in charge for this
the next
one.
Game, yeah.
Will you come and take the last 8 league games and see what you can do? And they'll just go, whatever. They'll go and do it because the Tottenham men, of course, they would. And then try and grab them 2 or 3 wins somewhere along the line. And they might be able to do it. They might not.
A couple of wins and they'll be okay. It's just where they're going to find them. They certainly don't want to go into the last game of the season needing to win, do they?
No. They've got some tough games as well.
They've got a really tough team down there on the last day.
That depends what that tough team, if they've got the flip-flops on or not.
They won't.
Well, you don't know. If we're already in Europe, then play Braden Graham and Asnew and Pickford on the left wing and everything. Or just send them down.
Or get one of the treacherous 6 off the pitch for at least one season.
Anyway, back to us. David Moyes' press conference this morning. I'd done some takeaways from it. He said the win was important. The back-to-back wins were really important to keep us in the hunt for European football. He's expecting a tough game, but he's confident we can go and do what we do and see how it plays out, give them a good game. Arsenal been brilliant. Arteta's done really well. He said he's got no problem with Arsenal, the way they play. With the dark arts, he said, I don't understand what the criticism is. They're in 4 competitions, and if football was all this same way of passing and all that, we'd be bored of it. It's it's rubbish. He's right.
Passing and all that.
Well, no, it's like the beautiful game and all of this nonsense.
It's all about winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said Jared should be fine. Relishing the challenge. Jared is having his minutes managed, so they're just looking after him, but he should be fine. He said progress is being made overall. He said if you'd have asked him in the summer or the end of last season, if fast forward to this March and Everton were in the hunt for European football, he'd be pleased, but he wasn't happy with the progress in the Cup. Said the runs weren't good enough, which they weren't.
Don't send the B team out. Yeah.
But he did say something, and I know he was asked about if we got into Europe, would that help recruitment easier to convince people to come? And he said, yeah, and he did reiterate, he said he was really surprised with the amount of players he spoke to last year.
Oh, back in the summer,
and he wouldn't come because of the perception of where Everton had been and no European football. He said the top ones was about Europe, but he was surprised at the others with the perception. And I guess this season will have eradicated a lot of that perception.
Potentially, yeah.
But then, you see, if anyone looked at it properly, you would say, well, if you said to a player, well, you're always, you're down there near the bottom. Me as an Evertonian would look and go, well, we got 48 points, but 8 were taken off for other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the 8 taken off, we were 14 points clear of relegation. 22 with the 8 on. That's not a relegation battle. Year later, we're on 48 points. We missed Europe by about 8 points. So we're not fighting relegation there, never. We from February we were safe. And then this season, if we get Europe, obviously it makes it easier. But if we get Europe, if we don't, but we're up there, you go third year on the run. Definitely the second year on the run, where we've been nowhere near it. We're looking upwards. So with you make the difference. And hopefully that's what I'm saying about when people are looking on the outside looking in, or these players who maybe were going, just not sure where you lie at the minute in the teams, and I don't want to go and fight near the bottom. Hopefully you'd look and go, actually, yeah, they are a team, sort of on the up, the big stadium, change the team around a bit, and hopefully
the process you're describing, right? Basically engagement with agents and stuff like that. What would you say the job of the person on our side of that discussion is?
It should be to convince the player that we're a strong team, we're moving forward as a team, and B, you're going to be a difference maker to us. That's what I'd be convinced.
So selling the football club.
with you, we're looking here. You're going to be the one that jump. We're not this bit anyway. In my opinion, you're reading it wrong. If it was me trying to convince you, and you were like, yeah, but like, look, near the bottom, I'd be saying, no, you're reading that wrong. I've come in, we've spent money, we've done this year, we're there. If we don't make the jump, say we've got 9th and it isn't enough, let's do that. Europe, it's easier, isn't it? We're in Europe. But say we got 9th, I'd be saying, John, with you though, we'd have had you this year, we'd have got there. We were just a little bit short, and I believe with the solid foundations we've got, our incredible fan base and the new stadium, with you, you're the difference maker, and that's why we want you to come here. You can take us here because we're already growing, we're getting better and better. I believe you can be the thing, and we're going to get another couple, hopefully like you, that are going to re-strengthen that. That's what I'd be trying to say to make you think. Am I going to kind of do it?
Every footballer on the planet playing in Europe, in UEFA conference sort of thing, not the competition, the actual confederation.
Playing for UEFA tournaments. Yeah,
I just throw it out there. If I'm lazy, or my agent's lazy, and I don't want to say no by saying no,
of course,
then I can say, oh no, I want to play in Europe.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The process, obviously, is a selling process, right? Which is curious, because if we look at who does this for us, he might think it's a buying process. Yeah.
They have to start,
but it's a selling process as well.
Of course, yeah.
And what you get back in a selling process is objections.
Yeah.
Reasons not to do it. So if we're not in Europe, it should be automatic for our salesperson to know that one of the objections they're going to get is, but you're not in Europe.
Yeah.
And then how do you sell around that? Okay. No one's telling me that when footballers choose, and make it up, Bournemouth over Everton, it's because Bournemouth are in Europe. Because guess what? They're not, type of thing. You know what I mean? So it almost comes across as oldie speak, right? It's a trope, isn't it? We're not in Europe, therefore this process is harder, right? Well, I would agree with that, wouldn't you? But the way I'd spin that would be, when we're in Europe, it's easier, rather than when we're not in Europe, it's harder. Yeah. Because Kieran and Dewsbury Hall didn't seem too fussed that we're not in Europe. You know what I mean?
That comes down to the player then, doesn't it?
Of course it does. And also the preparedness of the manager to be involved in the process, which we all know David would want to be, and basically do that lovely, soft, cuddly bits around, you're my main man, you're going to start every game, you take us to the next level, all that sort of stuff, right? So I just think, and we just record the business we're playing, haven't we?
Yeah.
And it's the same. The off-field and the on-field sort of behaviours need to be complementary, right? And if we think on one part of our business we're not particularly good, or we could be better, at selling our football club to third parties, why would we think in this other bit we'd be great at it?
Yeah.
Why would we? Right? Because this one influences this one and vice versa, right? So whenever we have empty seats in the stadium, whenever we have fans being a bit disgruntled, whenever there's stories about, we want ticket price free, all those sorts of things, they all take away from the brand and therefore make the other bit, whether it's Nick Hammond or whoever, his job that little bit more difficult.
Yeah, true.
So the whole thing needs to be joined up. And then you go, well, who joins it up? Well, you start with the chief exec, and then you decide as you go out. And you've got to have some degree of natural tension, but remembering, and it's good for Andrew Middleton to say, all the returns on our, on our sales and cost process are going to go into football operations. No one's asked, what does football operations means? They've assumed it means the football team, but it might not, because football operations is all operations, isn't it? Isn't the only reason for being of this football club is to win football matches, right? So join all those dots together, and then some of the stuff we talked on BWB actually becomes really important, because one of the selling points, when people say a selling point, and I think you just alluded to it, brand spanking new stadium, great, fine. Lots of clubs have nice stadiums, but they don't have an Everton fan base, right? So we have to do our bit as well.
Oh, God, yeah.
And the idea...
Stay and clap the players off.
All of the above, right? Yeah. Make them feel wanted, and reward them for their efforts rather than boo them for their failure. And that can all sound a bit wokey and a bit soft and so on. But if we as a fan base and the football club as well can think about the big picture, what is it we want? We want, when the season starts, whatever date it is in August, second or third week in August, to have all the players we want to be here are here. All the players we wanted not to be here have gone. And we've replaced them with players that excite us. By youth, potential, experience, if it's Grealish, whatever. So things like the Jack Grealish thing, do you think we're going to sign him? Do it now then. You can't exercise it now, but you could do it now. You could give a lift to the end of a season or whatever by saying, Jack Grealish has changed to join Everton on June the 1st, or July the 1st. July the 1st, for an undisclosed fee. He's getting ready, he's getting fit, everything's tickety-boo. David's besides himself with excitement, and he then becomes part of your attraction to other players. He's definitely going to be here, etc., etc. Now, I don't know who does that holistic planning. Right? Clearly, in my world, I would say, if I thought there was value in exposing that he's going to be here, I would do it, wouldn't I? So in my world, if he's not staying, I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? So you can get in, and this can all sound a bit, but that's the attention to detail that we need. We need to give Nick Hammond the absolute best deck he can possibly play with. And that isn't just paying agents bucket loads of money. We don't want players who are coming because their agent has lent on them simply because they personally are getting a big wedge. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
So David, feeling the comfort, if you like, of if we get in Europe, it makes Nick's job easier. I would agree with that bit, but it doesn't mean it's harder if we're not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I understand it. I understand. And it was just thought it was interesting.
No, it is interesting because when Nick's then talking to an agent, the agent can't throw up the bogey on European competition, can he?
No.
But then what they'll throw up then, it's only the Conference League. So, you go in.
James Graham says our defence is going to be crucial in this match. And
correct.
You're absolutely
in every away game, we rely upon it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mark Cody says, good that Jared seems to be fit. Yeah, and Mero.sombrero says, hello from Sarajevo. Hello, my friend.
Hello, sir.
Hello, my friend. LTL says we can go to Arsenal full of confidence, and you know what? We will win. Arsenal not unbeatable. We can get at them and then score. Get early and get the panic and pressure on them.
I told you, my nephew, Josh, weeks ago, we're going to beat them.
There you go. You just don't
Let's
know,
hope we do. And he can say, I told you so.
Steepy, because I've seen a few of these with the about Spurs and stuff, but he said, can someone explain to me how Jay Bothroyd is getting paid to talk about football when he was a god-awful player and even worse pundit? He was giving Spurs final game predictions and he had them beating us but losing to Forest because Forest are a better team than Spurs, and had us losing because we'll have nothing to play for. Absolutely clueless, as always. He clearly doesn't even know where we are in the league. He hasn't watched us play. It amazes me how confidently these people just waffle.
Let's be honest, right? Many of the ex-player pundits who earn a living on TV don't do the hard yards.
No.
I mean, you must do more prep for one of your inside the games than some of these guys do throughout the whole season. You know, and the entitlement levels can go through the roof from their perspective. But it is what it is. I don't know how he got on, but he is.
They have a few, don't they? You just think,
maybe it's because he's tall.
You're just waffling.
I think it's because he's tall.
Who knows? They just waffle, and you're like, yeah, you're not even. And not just about Everton, you heard them, so about other clubs, and you're like, that isn't accurate, though. What you're saying.
You know what's funny?
No one challenged.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Because I was supposed to be on live on Sky Sports on whatever day it was a couple of weeks back, and they had a tech issue at their end. And by the time the tech issue had finished, the window had gone, so I wasn't on. But he did actually have to waffle for 2 or 3 minutes. And the poor man literally probably had no idea what he was saying when he was saying it, and subsequently. Because he was expecting to come on and talk to me, and then all of a sudden they say, he's not going to make. Because Dave Jones can facilitate it as the host because he's a consummate professional and all that sort of stuff. But of course, he can only talk to the person who's sat opposite him who hasn't got a clue. But
Derek says it'll be interesting what Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV thinks about the game. My money will be on Arsenal fans being worried about this game. I'm going for a 1-1. I don't know if they will be worried about it. Doesn't mean they shouldn't be, but I don't know whether they will be worried. If Everton were on the way to winning the league and Arsenal were chasing Europe, you'd go, this is a tricky game, but you'd be confident you'd win because you're the team right on the top of the pile, aren't you? That doesn't mean Arsenal will win and Everton can't win, but what I mean is if you're winning the way they are, you'd be confident every home game, wouldn't you? You'd be thinking, we'll win this. We're playing Chelsea next week and I'll walk into that stadium thinking we're going to win.
Yeah.
And they're a team in the Champions League. They've walloped a little bit, but they're in the Champions League. They've been in the Champions League next week before they play us. They're still in the FA Cup. They come to Hill Dickinson, and I'll be thinking, they're up in the top 4 or something, whatever it is, top 5 in the league. I'll still be expecting us to beat them.
Of course.
Because we're at home, and I just think, we'll beat them. We'll get into these in the crowd, and you never know. We're at home, and we're a team. We're a team that's going for it. So I'll expect to beat them. The reality is, if they click, they could batter us. But,
of course.
But they battered Villa the other week, didn't they? Because Villa didn't click, and they did.
Yeah.
They got battered, so
if you were an Arsenal fan right now, the second, would you rather be playing Everton at home or West Ham away?
Everton at home.
And that's what they've got. City have got West Ham away.
City are at West Ham. Yeah, absolutely. Even though West Ham is if you get it right, West Ham's an easier game. Just tells you where they are in the league. It's an easier game, but Everton at home, it's as tricky as Everton can be and as awkward as Everton can be. It's a home game.
30 years without,
and they haven't won. They don't win at your place. There's been games they should have won and they haven't. You would look and think, we'll beat these. We're better than them. We'll beat them. Whether or not, a little bit of fatigue sets in. Because they just played in Europe Wednesday, and that was they had to have a late penalty to get something out of it. Travelled home, they'll only train today for the first time, then it's Everton tomorrow, and then they've got the second leg next week, and they want to get through in that, and they might have a little bit of arrogance about the game, where they think we should beat these anyway, and that might be where we can get into it.
Because, again, and you talked about the manager earlier on, and how we can play on that by making the game harder, making them work hard for it, making them remind them that they might be tired.
A few dark arts
by having
stuff.
some energy and stuff like that. But he may feel, based on objective thinking, that he can do some rotation, mightn't he? To freshen legs
They
and
might
stuff
do,
like
yeah,
that.
they've got good players, haven't they?
Because they've played, 4 or 5 games now in the last couple of weeks, haven't they?
They're playing everything, aren't they? So they're playing constantly.
Yeah.
So I think what's key tomorrow, might not play out like this, it might look a bit thingy, but for me, just get through the first 25 minutes.
agree.
Just get it as boring and, not much happening in that opening 25. Don't let them get ahead of steam up. Because they take the lead, it's quite possibly game over if they score, because they don't really concede very often. But just kill the game, make it boring. Let their fans get a bit restless and make the players start to get a little bit edgy because it's not going their way. And then you've got half a chance then.
And that edginess will remind them they're tired.
And that's it, isn't it? And it's difficult because we could have done with City City play after them, don't they?
Yeah, if they've been a half 12 or
if City have been half 12 and won, then but then you believe, we win this with 10 points clear, and then it's not going your way. You start thinking this is a big opportunity. We've got to take, and if Everton were to go and score a goal and shy a bit of magic or whatever and take the lead, then it plays on it again, doesn't it? So,
but again, you just done the psychology there. If they win, all the pressure's on City.
Of course, yeah.
You're 10 points behind. West Ham seeking to avoid. West Ham know a couple of wins and they might be all right, And again, they will think same things. We're at home. They're fatigued. They've travelled. They've lost. Yeah,
heavily.
Pep will perhaps rotate because he's very much a manager who looks at future games and all those sorts of things. It's probably against West Ham that if they'd drawn in Madrid, he might put focus on it, but he might also think the chances of us getting through are slim, therefore I'll win this game.
Well,
so it's
7 points behind Arsenal. You've got a game in hand and they've got to play them at home.
Yeah.
So it can be 1 point.
The sunny day plan is they're only 1 point behind.
So they still have to treat it like whatever happens on Saturday, they've got to win no matter what anyway.
Absolutely right.
Of course. Yeah. If Arsenal draw and they were to win, then
that's a swing.
It's a big, then I'd say
Who's their game in hand against? Do you know? Can you remember? No. But
City are the favourites.
They are, because they say we beat them at home and we're in the lead then.
But if Arsenal beat us and it's 10 points, then do you feel like 2 games in hand, or you've got to go and win at City then? You've got to go and win at West Ham after it. You've got to get the win. A draw's no good. You've got to win. That's a different pressure. And City are capable of being 3-0 up at half time and winning it 3-0. So
it's mad, isn't it?
We've just got to try to. All we can do is look after ourselves. We haven't. Not that we haven't got anything to lose, but it is a game Everton are unlikely to win. Doesn't mean they can't. It's a game no one will expect us to win. So therefore, all the pressure's on them. So
totally. And we said right at the very beginning, to secure European competition, we perhaps need to win a game we're not expected to win. And this is defo one we're not expected to win.
12 points for me gives us a great chance of Europe. Yeah. And hopefully Villa go in the Europa League. And,
so it drops down.
And stuff like that. And obviously we're going to have said this all. We're going to have two of the Champions League teams will be in the FA Cup final. The way the draw's gone, it's helped that way. So one of them will win. That's will drop again. That's what we need. We need that thing. And
I should have brought the chart in. The chart we've been plotting. I think our run rate's 56 points right now,
and I think that will get us in to the Conference League. I really do. Yeah. But that means 4 wins in 9.
It does, yeah.
But it could also mean 3 draws and a winner, Hill Dickinson, and 3, and 2 away wins out the 5, and that's still leaving a defeat. And that.
Sure.
So even if we lose tomorrow, we might drop a place or two. It's not the end of the world. We have to.
The points ball is in the right
can
direction.
we beat Chelsea?
That's the key, isn't
it? Or can we get something against Chelsea? If we get something out of Chelsea, personally, I think we'll win it. But we can get something out of Chelsea, then we've got something, a game that people might have gone, they won't get anything out of that. And we've got a point, and we go again, and we go again. We're going to have to win at Brentford, which I think we will. And we're going to have to win Palace or West Ham or Tottenham. So...
Yeah, it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, isn't it, Chelsea?
No, 5:30.
Is it 5:30?
5:30.
Oh, okay. I'll have lunch then.
We don't have any. 3 o'clock. Well,
It's
City's
Brentford.
still down.
Isn't Brentford
City's
3?
Yeah, I mean at Hill Dickinson.
Oh, I see.
City's down as 3, but
But it'll
I
move.
feel like that'll change.
Depending on where it's
But
at, yeah.
you never know, it might not. But
Okay. So it's lunchtime
for you in America, mate. Yes.
Good. I thought it was breakfast, but
No, lunchtime be sound. Steve P says, if you could have us play the style of any team in the Premier League era, who would it be?
Ooh.
He said, it pains me, but I've got to say it'd be Klopp's prime Liverpool for me. They were scary. Yeah, it probably would be similar to that, simply because they weren't 800 passes a game. They were at you, high pressing your face a little bit.
Exciting, you mean?
And exciting. And that, I think, the way they loved it, we love that. We love intense, fast shots, crossing, that kind of thing. We love all that as Evertonians. That seems to be the thing that gets the electricity going at home when it's like that thing. When we're slow and we pass it back, and we've seen it this season when we've passed it side to side for the sake of it and back. Everyone just goes, you know. And it's not necessarily what you associate with David Moyes, but at times, because we haven't got flying fullbacks and we haven't got players who are dynamic, it ends up being a slow passing game.
Oh, it does.
And it doesn't engage us as fans.
Yeah.
And yet when we've been able to get a bit of chaos going, the place is lit up. Like Palace, that last 25 against Palace was chaotic because we were all at it, throwing everything at it.
They
stadium.
wilted.
They wilted. The stadium was crazy. Leeds, you know, we score, we hit the bar there, hanging on a little bit. Bournemouth, when we got that last sort of hurrah for the last 10 minutes, even though we didn't get a goal, you heard what their players were saying, the noise, and we were panicking it in it, even though they had an extra man. When we create the chaos, Forest at home was a bit chaotic, and that day, and then when we got 2 up, we controlled the whole thing. When we have that, I think that's where the place comes to life. And when the place comes to life, teams find it really difficult because our crowd are mental when they get going. We need the sides to be mental, not just the south stand. We need, when the south stand starts a song, it needs to go right the way down like fire, and light the north stand as well, and get it all, because that's what was great at Goodison. When the street end started it, you'd feel it going along the sides and then in the park end, and then it became crazy loud, and you're seeing players sort of wilting a bit. We haven't created enough of those efforts. I asked James Tarkowski, go and check the interview, what a segue that was. Make sure you watch the interview, James Tarkowski. But I asked him about it. He said it's really loud. You know, he said, I know people are saying it, he said, but I've found it like when the crowd are on it. So we've got to get on it more. We can do it. The Chelsea, Liverpool have got potential to be crazy loud. But we've got to do it.
It is something that the club need to get a grasp of. I fear that that's parked in, that's something for the fans to sort out. And, you know...
Well, maybe it's something for all of us as a one.
No, I know, but...
unity.
You know, maybe we should push out the Dortmund stuff again, because it took them 10 years, right?
Well, I remember what he said.
Sebastian
said, but 10 years on from doing it, because don't forget, he nearly went bust, didn't he?
Yeah,
in 09, and that was 2019.
Yeah.
It had been for a good few years, but he said only now at 10, it's ridiculously all the time.
It's consistent.
But he got it better and better and better. So it won't take us 10 years. It won't take us 3 years.
No, it won't.
If we get our fingers out and go, right, this is what we want. We've seen bits of it at United. I have to say, United, bar Brighton, was probably the loudest it's been for a consistent amount of time. It could have been longer, but the team has to do their bit then. When the crowd are trying, the team has to do their bit. But that was really positive, United, the way it was. Burnley was never... There was moments at Burnley when we score, it's really loud. But Burnley was never going to be the one. Their fans had a couple of EFL chances, didn't they? They were quiet, and our fans were trying. But the game was just totally controlled, wasn't it? But we have to try to build on that.
Chelsea should be... loud.
It should be good, Chelsea. R5, it should be on Saturday.
You know, and have it as a practice for the derby.
Well, a derby should be electric, shouldn't it? Yeah. Really, regardless.
Bring everything to it. I mean, the club, the fans, everything. If you're going to have a bloody tifo, you know, get the fellas with the strong biceps to pull it up and all that sort of stuff. But make it the best it can be. You know, the 78's doing what they do, hundreds upon hundreds of flags, all of the above, right? And guess what? By the way, get a bloody drone 25 foot up in front of that south stand when it's really bouncing, and use that on your show reel to get these footballers who perhaps never heard of us to know this is what you get.
To see what you get.
This is what you get.
Clip it together with a bit of the Goodison stuff. Not necessarily, but the outside bit
all
with the blue
the smoke,
put it up.
the show reel that says.
Just get it, WhatsApp to them, have a little look at this, and then the next one, what's this?
But it is.
These loons.
But it is. We are Everton. This is Everton.
And a dog getting passed along.
You know, and I'd go so far as to say, produce that 10-minute thing and stick it out on YouTube. Be bold, be proud. This is our football club. This is what we're about, right? And it'll have hundreds of thousands of views. And there'll be people all around the world, and you're enhancing that perception of this football club, all which make Nick Hammond's and Angus Kinnear's job that little bit easier.
And let's stay, majority of us, when we win and clap the players off and then make your way home. Yeah. And I know it probably happened more with weekend games, but let's do it because it disheartens me as a fan. Yeah. When I look, I told you that the Burnley game at Burnley. In fact, I should have mentioned this the other day. I didn't really want to say it.
How did you feel when?
Because I didn't want to. I don't want to highlight something that I see as a negative. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. But you've got to confront those constraints.
I felt sorry for him because he got dragged to do the camera work, and when it was done, he turned round. There was about 48 people left in the south stand, and not just them, by the way. The ground had no one in it really, and he's trying to clap as the captain. Do you know what I mean? Really, we want it. Because I know, and we've been through it, and people have told me, and I get it, I do get it, but I can count on the number of fingers on my hand. Shows how clever I am, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
That's come out wrong. I can count the number of times that the Gladys Street had 23 people in when we'd won a game on the fingers on my hand. It never ever did. The Gladys Street, when Everton won, was still chocker, and people were bouncing up and down, so at least the players got to go down, and it was like, we're in this. What a football club this is, because they do it away. You get to see it away. You know, the scene, you sent the thing from Newcastle, and it's great. They're all bouncing the players like, what a club. Kiernan Dewsbury, that away end, I'll never forget it. Old Trafford, it'll live with me forever. I bet you none of them think, the South Stand at the end of that game will live with me forever at the moment. Will he? Because it's empty. But so what I'm saying is we've got to try to build that, and weekend games might mean most people stay. We've had a terrible run, horrible night games, rain, and all of that. We've got to just try to boost that. Just even if you stay for 30 seconds, clap them and then get off. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just so that. Sorry, my eyes itchy, because I look at all of them and think that all helps with the perception that these fans are incredible. These fans are mad. I want to play for this set of fans. If I'm looking at Everton and going, what are these like? And I'm watching a game on Sky or something, and it goes to the end and they've won, and I look and there's 11 people behind the goal or something, I'd be thinking, fans, get off a bit early.
I think it's an interesting one because...
And we're an unbelievable fan base who are loyal, so I agree. That's why it annoys me a little bit.
It all comes out under some of the stuff around when we talk about it, and Dortmund's, because they're an exemplar, aren't they? The best of the best and all that, and certainly in Europe, sort of thing, is... You have to
Boca Juniors might disagree with that,
well,
but
they're not in Europe.
No, that's what I mean. That's why I said,
but they, literally, you have to make it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, particularly at home games, because I, like you, stand around.
Yeah, you're still. Yeah,
and I'm thinking, are they coming over or what? You know what I mean? Now, if the captain gets dragged off, because part of the broadcast thing is now we get him on the pitch and all that. But it's almost like they have chats with the team they've just
they sure. Yeah, that is.
Go straight to the south stand.
Yeah.
Thanks, lads.
Shake the person who's by your hand, give them a hug, and then run down to the end.
Because if you go to the right as close as you can to the bottom of the south stand, people are looking at the pictures they're leaving, and they won't leave, will they? No,
you're right there, John. That's that side as well.
Seamus can be cheerleader if he wants and say, hey, you lot, go that way.
Straight away, If I'm the players, I'd be like, right, shake your hand of the nearest couple of players and then jog to the edge of the box, even if they don't want to go right down, clap everyone.
Make it very clear that you're happy with the support that you've got.
And let the away fans come, let the away team come to you to shake your hand.
Absolutely.
You go and orchestrate that. So you're right, it's a two-way thing, not all on the fans. Fans might look and go, They're all giving it all that on the halfway line. But if they were there...
I do.
Because it's all about building a perception. I want everyone to look at our club and go, oh my God, I want to play for them. Yeah, the nonsense that gets said about them. What Anfield's like, half it's all piped in. The atmosphere, but normal fans go and away fans go and go. There is no atmosphere there. When that song's played, there is, or they score. Everything else, it's quiet. So this famous, but they've built this myth that it's incredible to go there in the atmosphere. Well, we've got to build our perception that as a player, you want to play for these loons who pass a dog along, and have blue flares. They're all there, they're backing you.
Or in an away ground for 20 minutes, live on American television. These Everton fans are mad.
But we've got to build that to the home as well, haven't we?
Well, no, that's my point. You take that and you say...
But then the players have got
You want, NBC to go, Everton fans at it again. These are the best fans in the world. Look at the stadium. And then some American billionaire somewhere goes, I'd like a piece of that.
No, we've got one. Who like the piece? Maybe.
No, you're going to spend a fortune to have
on the front.
Zebedee incorporated on the front of the shirt or whatever. But it's easy to say, but you can't. You have to do it today. Not tomorrow.
Paul Davies says, if the English teams get knocked out of the Champions League next week, does it affect the Premier League getting an extra place? It might do. Season?
I think the coefficient was
was high.
Yeah,
it might affect it more next season. What the points added up to. But who's going? Arsenal will get through. Liverpool will get through. I wouldn't rule out City just yet. Chelsea, can they turn 3 goals back from PSG? Looks unlikely. The holders and all that. Spurs are gone, so
because the
Newcastle at the new camp.
The Real Madrid man having a game of a lifetime. Yeah,
he's a good player, Valverde.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Not at scoring goals like that. No.
Yeah, but see how much time he spent covering for some
he's fantastic,
right back.
Fantastic. Carl, you know what, mate? You're right as well. The transport, I get it. I do get it, mate, and that's why I'm saying. This is why I'm saying it's. I understand that some people do have to go. I get it.
There's always people.
We have people. One of our patrons the other day was saying, I hate leaving, but the night game, if I don't go 5 minutes before, I don't get this and I can't get it knocks everything on. I don't get to work, and then I get that. I absolutely, and there might be 1,000 people or 2,000 people who have to do that. Their reasons are exemplary. I can't argue with them. That still leaves 47,000 of us. Who should still not. I don't expect the ground to everybody to stay, but just one big chunk so that the players, when we win, get that moment. We get it. We go all the time. Don't we want that moment at the end where the stress is gone? We've won. The players are there and we're clapping and we're singing and we're all for a few minutes. That's the best bit, isn't it? When you've won, and the players are giving it all that, and you're like, isn't that the greatest bit apart from the goals going in?
Yeah, if we've just won a game and the South Stand's full of people very happy, or we've just lost a game and South Stand not necessarily happy, but are still there to respect and thank the players and what have you, that's where the TV cameras will go. They won't go on the West Stand where they're all going to have their prawn sandwiches and stuff, and they won't go on the East Stand because that'll empty reasonably quickly as well, and the North Stand's the wrong direction.
By the way, Carl, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying these are through. I only ever say things through my eyes.
But that's all we all can. Of course,
that's all I do. That's why I never. People will go, "Oh, you represent." I represent me. I'm just an Evertonian. It's my views. If you agree with my views, brilliant. Brilliant means we're all mostly on the same page, and a lot of us all are on the same page. There'll be little differences and all that. I'm just saying it through my eyes. When I used to sit in my seat in the Bullens and look at the street end and it was bouncing and we'd won and the players go down and I'm on the front row giving it all that and the players come over. It's amazing. And I look and think, no wonder people won't play for us. Now, I look at that, and because the South Stand's huge, it looks worse. It looks worse when there's a few. So I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, we've won a game and the players walking down must be going, why is everyone gone?
It would kind of have. It's probably possible to have more people on the South Stand than were in the Gladys Street and it look empty.
Maybe, but I don't believe
but that's the
case.
point. It's about perception, isn't it?
So what I'm saying is, I always look at it as if I'm a player. So if I've ran me bollocks off for 90, 100 minutes over the 2 halves, we've won. I've scored a goal. And it's like the whistle's gone. It's like we've won. And I start walking down to where our fans are. And all I can see is blue seats. And I'd be thinking, why aren't you there bouncing? Isn't this the best bit? All the stress gone off the game. We've won. We're celebrating together. We don't get those moments very often for very long, do we? You know, when you think about, we go to all of the games. We have the celebration. We cheer them and clap them when they come out. We celebrate if we score a goal. For huge periods of that season, we're just observing. And then the game finishes and we'll win, we'll lose and we'll draw. The wins haven't been enough.
True.
But so when the wins are there, why aren't we revelling in the best bit about the whole day? If Everton won 57 home games out of 57, I could get some people going, do that every week. We celebrate every other week. Yeah. I'm on board. I've got to get home. I'd understand that. I'm just saying that bit at the end of the game, it only lasts 2 or 3 minutes. If we win the derby, I imagine everyone will stay in the seat and we'll be singing and dancing and all that, right? But that bit for me, those 3 or 4 minutes at the end of the game, when you've won and the players are there giving it that's the greatest bit of the day. Because you've won the game and you get to celebrate with the lads, and it doesn't happen very often. We look at all of the time we see these lads running around the pitch, we're just observing what's going on in the game and clapping and all that. But that's the moment when you can really revel in it. And I just don't feel like enough of us are reveling in when we win at home. And therefore, there will be, I keep saying it, it's just my view. There might be tons of people on here who go, I'm not arsed, don't care. And that's fine. I can't convince you different. I'm just saying what it looks like, but I'm always thinking ahead to players who might look and go, why would I want to go there?
And that's the point. If you had a huge mega plan, that is, we're going to have world domination, and step by step, day by day, we move towards it. One of those, which we almost started this an hour ago, about how can we give the guy doing recruitment, the man on point, right, the best hand he can. And one of those is, and these are the mad fans that are going to adore you forever, type of thing. And it's almost, and you keep repeating, rightly so, that when we win, we should whatever, right? Enjoy. We could build the process in. This is what happens after a game: win, lose, or draw. And if the start of that is the first thing the players do is come and thank the fans.
Yeah, I am with you on that.
We've just lost 17-0, and the players are thanking the fans. People will stay, and then if we draw, more will stay, and obviously if we win, more will stay.
No, I think you're right as well. I do. I think the players should just come straight down.
Imagine a curveball where you talk about getting people into the ground early with your happy hours and all those sorts of things. Imagine if happy hour in just use the Waterfront Bar because that's the South Stand, right? Started 10 minutes after the game finished. So you might as well stay in your seat, lads.
Yeah.
Because
and then you can
the
get
cheap beer starts in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Imagine the stadium announcer saying, players are coming towards the South Stand now. So people know, to give their appreciation to you, and all this sort of stuff.
I just think if we could do that, I think the players would enjoy it more, we'd enjoy it more, and again, it's a better perception.
Of course it is.
Imagine you can see it and all the South fans stood up clapping as the players walk. That looks amazing, doesn't it?
Of course it does.
And we know how good the fan base we've got, so all I'm saying is let's demonstrate it more just in that moment, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, look at how much sort of criticism Spurs fans are taking for walking out. I mean, that was a disgrace what they did against Palace. We didn't do that. I've said it all week. We all stayed in our seat, 3-2 down at home to Brentford with 9 men.
Yeah.
We were still in the belief, and we nearly equalised. And we were all there singing. That play, we got beat that day, and we sang and clapped the players off, and we lost at home to Brentford the game. We should have wiped the floor with them. Spurs were all at home. They were all at home 20 minutes in the second half, streaming out the stadium at 2-1 before half time because they're fed up. Well, so that's Everton in need, and the fans stood up.
Everton in need. Everton in need.
They were though, weren't they? We were at Finch Farm when they went off to Leicester. Stood outside singing and filming it, clapping.
We were,
all of that.
Sunny day that was.
It was a lovely day. Yeah. Going off to Leicester for the league game near the end. I'd seen that it being rubbish all season. We were there, backing them. Because we had to. We knew it was our responsibility. So that's how incredible we are. Last time I interviewed James Tarkowski in Baltimore, asked him about, did you notice that as an ex-player, as a player of another club? He's like, couldn't fail. We were all talking about it. Connor Cody couldn't fail to impress everyone around the country. We're looking and going, look at these. These are mental. That's what you want. So I want players to go, these fans are mental. I want to play for these.
You know, when we talk about this stuff and you fill your brain with all this stuff from the past and I say I don't, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Your interview inside the game with Connor Cody, and I'm visualising it now, I will remember forever.
Yeah.
A little bit of it.
Yeah.
And he does this, he goes, I'm telling you, mate, I'm telling you, that sound was a different level. Different level.
Couldn't hear himself think, didn't he?
You know, and the hairs are going up on the back of my neck now just thinking about it, because the stadium was astonishing.
That was...
And a player it will be, and you said Dewsbury Hall's done the same, that'll be with him forever.
Burns.
And it's a red shite, for Christ's sake. But that endearing memory, which is stuck, burns into his DNA now, and they pass it on to everyone.
Can't knock Dewsbury Hall.
Yeah. No, absolutely not, no. Because they're moments that you remember. Or the noise when DCL does a diving header, or when Tark scores a goal, or whatever. Now, we can't fabricate the events that allow, they have to happen. But we can be in an environment, which physically we are, because Dan Mee's done a great job. And you talked about the noise would go round Goodison. It emphatically goes round in Hill Dickinson. The roof does it. You know, I told you before.
But it doesn't spread it down the sides. That's the problem.
Well,
it would if everyone joined in.
No, and I think we need to nail this, right? Because you're right. When we did the sleep out last, whenever it was, October, November, and we were asked to shout something while a photo was getting taken, we paused because we could hear a noise over there. And the noise over there was the noise we just...
Yeah.
So the point is when you say you want it to ripple down... It does go past the people in the West Stand, and it does go past the people in the East Stand. What you're saying is they need to then join in.
They need to boost it, and then it will.
Absolutely.
And it'll start.
It's like an American wave, but Mexican wave, but it's sound.
An American wave as well.
It's sound, and then if the North Stand send it back, before you know it, those people in the middle called footballers are going, what the is going on?
Well, Palace fans, Palace players said it. Glasner said it.
Yeah.
Others, Mark Gay was only seemed. Adam Wharton. You could tell.
That's what you put on the show, really, you know. Opposition managers saying the atmosphere in this place, unbelievable.
Let's be having, you says, all right, lads, some stupid questions in that presser this morning. Most of it was about Arsenal. Someone said Moyes and Arteta played together at Everton.
What?
I think he played.
No way.
I think they said you would. Also, I was left wondering who Moyes was referring to when he said people criticised him for resting Branthwaite the game after his return. Anyway, 1-0 is the only realistic scoreline we can win by, but I predict a 1-1.
Okay, cool.
1-1. I mean, want to win every game, but 1-1 would be a real positive, wouldn't it? Because I think most people will have us down for no points for this game.
Yeah, 0 points.
So, Charlie Haight says, do you think we will go for both Grealish and George this summer? Both prepare playing on the left wing alongside this being in Jai's best position. Think we go for one and look at someone who plays off the right, or are you happy for Jai to be starting right winger next season? Feels also like if we do get Grealish, George alongside Roll, that's a lot of outlay in the summer without improving the squad.
That outlay logically is already in the books, isn't it? Because I think the expectation
got to be done by June the 30th.
Yeah, the Roll thing's not optional, right? So they know that's already done. Jack, you would think the default would be they being the club, we as fans want him to stay. Therefore, hence my point before, let's do it sooner rather than later. And Tyreek George is either short-term fix or he's not. Well, you don't necessarily get a one-sided option if he's not in your thoughts and his age and all those sorts of things. So I think the answer is all of the above. I think we get both, and I think we also look for a natural right-sided forward as well. And we're expecting Beto, aren't we, to go out?
Beto will go. So. I think Dwight will go.
Yeah. Dwight will play tomorrow, won't he?
Patterson will go. Michalenko, don't know. But those three will go. And then it's about replacing them and how they replace them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brian Garside says we need to do what Newcastle did to Barcelona. High press and do not allow them to settle into a rhythm. Depriving them of space and possession is the key. I prefer not to see O'Brien at right back against their pacey and skillful wingers, but he will be at right back. And I don't know whether Everton have got the players to high press and be intense and force them into a thing. I think Everton might be better just sitting a little bit, but you can't do the whole game. But
Miko will be left back, and O'Brien will be right back, and that tells you how we're going to play.
Harrison Darby said, just thought of a question I should have asked on Business with Play. But with the majority of our games being on or being televised, how much roughly do you think we've made on Wilmie?
I'd have to get the old spreadsheets out, but clearly upside from previous seasons, albeit we've been on a lot in previous seasons for different reasons.
Not as many as this season.
But not as many as this season. The access fees and stuff, I can't remember what they are, but all of it will pale into significance in comparison to the merit payments for finishing higher up the league. So,
but it all adds on.
But it all adds up, absolutely.
Gavin was saying yesterday, me and the lad coming over for the first time for Chelsea, we're not leaving till they drag us out, win,
well
lose
done.
or draw. It's right, Gavin, and enjoy it.
Which standard are they in? Hey, Gavin, if you're in the upper south, just disrupt Ped's instant match reaction, because the Irish lads did a brilliant job of that at the last game. That's what you want. You want more people around Ped, really.
Get on it, yeah.
Yeah, you could be on telly, sort of thing.
Right, last couple. Philip Gomez said, I'm expecting us to play the low block against Arsenal. It's just important that we break out when we can and take the chances. Yeah, spot on.
I have been to multiple away games this season anticipating we'll play a low block, and we've played high.
Yeah. So you just don't know, do you?
So anyone who thinks
it depends,
David is totally stuck in his ways, he's not.
Depends how he thinks, doesn't he?
It does, yeah.
Strength and Honour said, I was getting tired just listening and seeing you, James, about 20 minutes while I was cooking. He wears on you after a bit. Who are you?
James. What have you done, James?
Oh, no, sorry, it was a response to another James.
Oh, not you, James.
Not you, not our James.
Not our James.
Up the Toffee, he says, hello, Baz and John. Do you know of our transfer dealings? If we'll pay the total fee up front for someone like Roll, still pay? No.
Absolutely.
No one pays up front. City used to for about 2 seasons, and then they stopped doing it. So even if we did buy Tyreek George, Jack Grealish, and we will buy Mail Roll, say that outlay was just do 20, 20 and 18. So it's 58 million. 15 million up front.
I have no idea. I would just say that the default has to be the money stays in our bank for as long as possible.
But I mean, most clubs pay over years, don't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it's not like there's 58 million cash gone. It doesn't work like that. So, but yeah, say just use a third for argument's sake, a third of that.
Yeah.
So a third of 58 million.
Yeah. Call it 60, it makes it easier.
60, so 20 million for those 3 players.
Yeah.
And when we're saying we don't Tyreek George isn't an upgrade, well, how do you know? Because
upgrade on
right
who?
now he's not. Nobody's saying the squad won't have got any better. Well, Tyreek George might be incredible.
Oh, I see.
In the summer, he's used this to bed in pre-season, and he looks like he's took us up 2 levels. Just because he's in and out a little bit at the minute, we have to sort of expect him to develop.
I think if ever, it'd be interesting to see. You could almost suspect it could be a plan, really. If every January we acquired a player on loan with an option to buy, and then you look back and go, ooh, Alcaraz 1 year, Tyreek George the next year, somebody else the next year, and that fits in.
It's a good way to do it, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and that fits in with that view of we want young, high ceiling players, but the manager wants to see, a bit of experience and this, that, and the other, so he gets to see them. Not necessarily on the pitch, because he can make decisions about, personality and all that sort of stuff off the pitch. Yeah. And they'll know that the fee they've agreed is modest if the manager says yes. And if he says no, he says no. Right? But it is an interesting way of doing it.
Try before you buy, isn't it?
Absolutely.
If those players come in and don't do it, then you don't pay the money, do you?
Absolutely.
And at least you've had the luck, but it's always worth doing it. If you can. It's just that You can't always do it. Can you?
And it gives you your overall headroom for a wild card for the manager as well. You know, if he needs a comfort blanket of that gnarly old 31-year-old midfield player who always gives you a 7 type of thing, then you can take those chances. You know, if you know that the overall average is the squad's getting younger, you've got players that you can move on after you've developed them if you feel the need, or you just get better and better as they mature. Happy days.
Yeah, definitely. Right, make sure you like and subscribe to Toffee TV. Watch the James Tarkowski interview. It's good. Paul Tate.
It's good.
Well, it's excellent.
It's very good.
And we've got another exclusive interview out at 6 p.m. with Everton's head coach of the under-21s, Paul Tate. It was really good. Really enjoyed speaking to him. He's a good lad.
Yeah.
It was really good. And some interesting points. Talks about Braden Graham in there, which is brilliant. And obviously ahead of Everton playing Borussia Dortmund next Wednesday at Walton Hall Park. If you fancy that, tickets are £5 for adults, £3 for juniors rather. However, if you're a season ticket holder or a Forever Blue member or a premium member, it's free, but you have to claim your ticket. So if you want to go and watch Everton under-21 side with some excellent young players in playing against Borussia Dortmund at Walton Hall Park, let's try and sell the place out and give the lads a real boost. But check that. Make sure you check that interview later because he's really, really good. Right, big thanks to John.
Excellent.
Enjoy the weekend and come on, trophies. It's about time we won at the Emirates in front of fans, so why not tomorrow? See you all later.
Take care.